How's it going, guys? So today we're gonna finish up getting this tractor all back together. Yesterday we got the flywheel and the clutch everything in there all set maybe. Yeah, we just gotta button up stuff out here on the outsides to get it started up. So what we gotta do is we gotta get the air cleaner hooked up. We gotta unbolt this chain here and get the air cleaner put on. We got the alternator. It's got to go back on the belt and everything. This fuel line needs to get figured out, and we got the wire here for the alternator, and I'll probably set the muffler on. And then on this side, we just got to run the wire to the coil here, hook that back up. We got to get the fuel tank bolted back up to the back. It bolts onto the back of the head here. And got to get this, we got the rod, throttle control rod, needs to get hooked back up to the governor, and the starter needs to get bolted back in. Shouldn't take too long. It isn't super hard, so I guess get to it. Alright, we got the chain unbolted there, and I think I'm gonna move on to, well, I'll get this fuel tank bolted up. It's just got 2 bolts in there. You see the 2 bolt holes. It's a little bit of a pain because you gotta somewhat line them up, because when the block and engine stuff gets pulled out, this fuel tank kind of sits down a little, so you gotta push it up and you gotta wiggle it to the sides, and yeah, it can be a pain in the butt, but we'll get those 2 bolts put in, and then we can get the throttle rod hooked in, and I guess we gotta hook the choke rod back up too. So yeah, and we can move on to getting like the alternator and the air cleaner and stuff on. So yeah, we can get to it. All right, so we got the alternator hooked up. We just gotta hook the wire up, and I got everything on this side all set. We just gotta do the starter, which I'll save that for last. We gotta hook the steering wheel back up, but I got this wire hooked up and got this rod all hooked up, and we got the fuel tank all bolted up. So we just gotta get the steering pole there up where it needs to be, hook this wire up for here, and get our air cleaner hooked up, and then just hook this fuel line up and the choke rod hooked up. All right, we got, I think the only things left we gotta do is pop the starter in, and we just gotta hook this fuel line up. This is actually just a piece of old 5/16 sap tubing. We do maple sugaring, and this is my sugar house, and my dad has his own taps that he does, but he just sells the sap, and I have my own that I boil and make my own maple syrup with. So before I hook this fuel line up, I want to open up the fuel valve and check the fuel flow. Well, should probably check to see what's in the tank. It's some in there. So I've had problems with, yeah, you can kind of see stuff starting to come out. I've had issues with stuff in the fuel tank. may actually end up having to take the bowl off and taking just a small screwdriver and popping up into the tank, kind of wiggle it around a little to get it to free up. It's been sitting for a little while, really, actually, so sometimes you can get it by just sucking or blowing on the fuel line here, but sometimes it's been sitting for too long, so yeah. So I guess we'll do that real quick. What I really need to do probably is put a new sediment bowl on it. And assembling stuff. Look at all that junk. But yeah, you can see it dripping a little, but the valve's fully open right now, so I'll just find this little screwdriver and grab a paper towel to clean up that bowl with, and yeah, you don't need not much, just a little screwdriver, something that I can poke up in there and kind of wiggle around a little to get everything freed up. And so what I've been mostly dealing with this particular tractor is I've been having like a black sludge essentially, and it's really a pain in the butt because it's super thick, but it's just just thin enough that it'll flow, and it just plugs everything up and fills the sediment bowl. One day I did put some time into it and scrape the bottom of the tank. Or I took the whole sediment bowl assembly here off, and I used the bottom here in my pry bar, which is shaped like that, so it worked pretty good. And I just scraped the bottom of the tank and kept pulling everything towards that hole, and I was able to get quite a bit of it out. So we got sediment, or the actual bowl there, all cleaned up nicely. So I got my screwdriver and see how much gas I can soak myself in. And my screwdriver isn't working. Too long. So I gotta find a different screwdriver, I guess. So I need a short one. But the only problem is I think that's the shortest one I got. Oh no, I don't. This one here would be perfect. So just a little short guy. So yeah, jab this up in there and yeah, get my sediment bowl here ready. But all I just gotta do, and actually I think first I'm gonna grab a paper towel, dry off some of this gas, but I don't think my valve's fully open. So, okay, so that's off. I think my valve is sticking open just a little bit. Nope. I think it's something up top here, which I don't remember, but last time I was dealing with this, I don't remember if I think I was having issues then with it, the gas, so Nothing's really been easy with this tractor, but it's slowly getting there. I think maybe we'll try take this off, which apparently is pretty loose. There we go. We may end up having to go get a gas can, refilling this tank once we get this figured out. Well, just unscrew this and maybe take the plunger assembly out. Maybe. Guess not. Alright, so I think I'm going to pause the camera for a second and see what kind of trouble I can get into here. Alright, we got it all broke free there, and that's all back together. And we got a pretty good flow fuel coming out now here, so yeah, wasn't much. I ended up just using the, it's not technically what you're supposed to use it for, but it's just, you know, penetrating oil there. I just used the straw and I was able to blow whatever it was, just a little bit of debris or something. I was able to get it broke free and it came right down out. And this here is this black stuff here is some of that stuff that I cleaned out of the tank. Whoops. Starter was engaging. Obviously all the wires are hooked up, but it was just pressed up just right that the button was pushing, and it was grounded up against it just enough. She started whirring, so yeah, definitely not OSHA approved, but oh well. So this steering pole here, we just kind of push it up like that and drop this bolt that the threads that doesn't actually thread on. It just kind of sits there and looks pretty. There. And yeah, we just got to get the starter hooked up. It's all ready for business apparently. We kind of getting ahead of the game, but yeah, the starters should be the last thing here. So yeah, get that in and we'll be ready to try starting it up. I imagine I'll probably have to go get the jumper pack to put on the battery here, but yeah. All right, we got the starter all bolted up, and do a quick walk around, check everything over, make sure everything's hooked up. And it would appear so. Belt's tight. Actually, I want to just double check. Well, you can see it's kind of getting wet around this, so. Oh yeah, it's a little loose. That's what I thought. When I split it, I put this bracket, you know, I took the alternator off, and I put this bracket, I swung it up, and I think when I swung it up, it spun the bolt out a little. And of course, naturally, when you spun it down, the bolt stayed. So, yeah, this hose clamp isn't hooked up, but we'll just hang off on that. Not as big of a deal. But seeing that, I'm just going to check. Yeah, it wasn't leaking too much. It's still full of coolant. There. this particular tractor does not have a water pump. It's just, I don't know what you call it, whatever it is. So as you know, it heats up, it comes up, and it, naturally, as it, heat rises, so the hot coolant rises up to the top of the motor, and it comes up into the top of the radiator here. And then as it cools, it settles back down, and it just keeps, working that way through. So it's pretty neat. Pretty ingenious when you think about it, but yeah. I'd say we're ready to try to fire it up. So just clean off the operator's seat. I kind of give you a little go around of how I got this wired up, because there is no actual key switch. I just have the power going to the coil, which then goes to the distributor and creates the spark. I just have that on a on-off switch here. So, when I'm ready to start it, I just flip that up, and now the coil's been energized, and it's all, going to the, distributor. That's all ready to, start sparking on us. Obviously the battery's still hooked up. Probably should have unhooked that before I started messing with it, but I don't, as you saw, I don't really take the whole starter right off. I just kind of just let it hang there off the linkage. Remember to take my tin can off, and just for looks we can set in there. Now it's a real tractor, right? But try her now. The starter just runs off the foot pedal here, so yeah, we got the coil on. Choke out, see what she does. Yep, I'll get the jumper pack. She ain't cranking over fast enough. And as some of you probably noticed, this steering wheel's kind of in rough shape. All the rubber stuff's coming off the metal here, but it still works. I just had to put a steering wheel on that tractor there. That one was so bad that the splines in this piece were all rounded out, so I'd be turning the wheel, but the wheels in the front there wouldn't be turning. So yeah, we'll go run and grab that jumper pack real quick. All right, we got the jumper pack hooked up to the battery here, and try this sucker again. Clutch feels. I looked in the starter hole while I was pushing the pedal, and before I put the starter in, obviously, but I could see everything moving, so we'll see what it does. It's only got one brake. The other pedal, the rod is seized in one of the places here, one of its holding pieces, so I haven't gotten around to getting it freed up good. So yeah, get it started up now. I don't think this is dead. No. Must have a bad connection. Just kind of wiggle everything here. There. We're gonna try it again. well, we got connection figured out. Just check this, because this seems to be the common problem. That's flowing good. Wonder what that is. Almost splashed it. Just check this. It's been laying on its side for a while, so who knows what's in here. That's all good. Little low, but that's not the problem. Unless something's in the carburetor, but I don't know. I'm not. Let's see if this happens to be the right. No. I think I'll pull the carburetor apart. Just make sure everything here is ignition wise is all set. But just pull this here out and see, just to double check that it's getting fuel into the carb, you know. Try pulling it out without messing up my main jet setting, because I think I have that roughly where it needs to be. Yep, there's a problem. So what we're gonna do, we're just gonna take the pliers, that ain't working. I think what I'll do is I'll shut the fuel off, and I'll unhook this end of the fuel line, and blow through. No, oh, that's cool. Well, now, just want to shut the fuel off. All right, I'll be back in a second. All right, we got that shut off. To work at it for a second, but we'll just disconnect the fuel line here and just blow back through, see if we can blow out whatever it is. That didn't work. Maybe try this again. Brake clean and whatever would be better, but this works too. This got me a little stumped. Whoop. Try blowing back through again. Does this don't work? I don't know what. Well, it's dripping now at least. I don't know if the needle's sticking closed or what the deal is. Try tapping on it a little more. Alright, a little better of a drizzle. I think we'll try blowing back through it one more time, and I don't know. I mean, obviously, one of the holes is only about yay big, but we'll see. I don't know if blowing back through it will work or not. Well, I mean, it's got a pretty good drizzle, so now it's slowing. We'll open the fuel valve up, see what it does. Well, it's definitely got a good drizzle, so I don't think that's as much as really supposed to be coming out, but I think we'll put this here back in and see. Because I honestly really don't know how much is really supposed to be coming out that. So, I was hoping this would be kind of easy, but I guess I should have known better with this tractor. How would I take? Well, try starting it again. I don't know. I'm kind of skeptical, but see what it does, I guess. Apparently it's getting enough fuel. It's at least trying to start. Apparently I forgot my hammer up here, so before it falls, we'll drop it on the ground. And we'll try it again, I guess. Well, it's trying. don't think it's getting enough fuel. I don't really have enough time to try putting it in gear. So, which I guess if I was really, really dedicated, we could put it in gear, push the clutch in, and hit the starter. And I guess when it didn't move, then that would mean, you know, but, well, give it a shot. Not OSHA approved. Put it in first gear, see what it does. Actually, I can't push on both pedals hard enough to, well, it is back in neutral, don't worry. Nope, still ain't working, if you couldn't tell by all the grinding. Well, I guess I'm thinking that maybe this is gonna do it for this video. I think we gotta mess with this carburetor. I don't know if either the float is sticking or if some debris got in there and plugging stuff up, but I think what we're gonna do is we'll take this off and we'll try, well, somehow we'll get it apart. Whether we pull the whole carburetor off or if we just unscrew it there. So, yeah, a little disappointed. I was really hoping that this clutch would work, but I don't know. Definitely starting to be a pain in the butt, that's for sure. So, yeah. I mean, I may end up having my uncle come take a look at it, see if he sees anything. But, so yeah, I guess that's gonna do it. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and I guess there's going to be a part 3 of this. I was kind of hoping there's, you know, only going to be 2 parts, but I guess it's going to be a part 3, so stick around for more.